In this module, we will prove Sylow first theorem. Emil Sylow proved three theorems on the existence of p subgroups of a finite group. And these theorems are very useful to characterize simplicity of finite groups of small orders. Particularly, if P is a prime divisor of a finite group G, then the first theorem shows that G has a subgroup H of order p to the power I if p to the power I divides order G, and thus this generalizes the Cauchy's theorem on finite groups. Similar to the Lagrange's theorem, Sylow theorems were also proved first by Emil Sylow for permutation groups. It is the Cayley's theorem which influenced George Frobenius to prove the Sylow theorems in the general setting. Here we use techniques of group action to prove the Sylow theorems. For this, first of all, we need to prove the following two results on group action. Let G be a group of order p to the power n, where p is a prime and S be a finite G set. If S0 be the collection of all A in S such that G A equal to A for all G belongs to G, then order S is congruent to order S0 modulo P, that is, P divides order S minus order S0. For the proof, consider an arbitrary element A from S. Then A is in S0 if and only if A remains fixed by every element G in G. So it follows that the orbit box A contains only one element A. Equivalently, order of box A is equal to 1. Hence, S can be written as a disjoint union S equal to S0 union box A1 union box A2 union and so on union box AK, where box A1, box A2 and so on up to box AK are distinct orbits of G on S and disjoint from S0. Then it follows that order S is equal to order S0 plus box A1 plus box A2 plus so on plus order of box AK. So, to prove P divides order S minus order S0, it suffices to show that P divides order of box A1 plus order of box A2 plus so on plus order of box AK. Since AI does not belong to S0, so there is some G in G such that GAI is not equal to AI, which implies that G does not belong to the isotropy group GAI of AI, and so order of GAI is strictly smaller than order of G. Thus, order of box AI is greater than order G by order GAI, which is strictly greater than 1. Then, order of box AI is greater than 1 and order of box AI is equal to index of the isotropy group GAI in G which divides order G equal to p to the power n, and hence it follows that P divides order of box AI for all 1 less than equal to I less than equal to k. Hence P divides the summation of order box AI I runs from 1 to k, and it follows that P divides order S minus order S0, that is order S is congruent to order S0 modulo P. Recall that if every element of a group G has order p to the power n for some n greater than equal to 0 and for some fixed prime p, then G is called a P group. With the help of Cauchy's theorem, we have proved that a finite group G is a P group if and only if order G is equal to p to the power n for some n greater than equal to 0. We call a subgroup H of a group G a P subgroup if H is a P group. In particular, for every prime P, the identity group E is a P subgroup of every group G, since order of the identity group E is equal to 1, which can be expressed as p to the power 0. In our second result on group action, we proved that if H is a P subgroup of a finite group G, then index of H in NH is congruent to index of H in G modulo P. Let S be the set of all left cosets of H in G. Then the mapping from H cross S into S given by GAH goes to GAH is an action of H on S. Since H is a P group, we have order S is congruent to order S0 modulo P. Here order S is equal to index of H in G, and for A belongs to G, AH belongs to S0 if and only if GAH is equal to AH for all G in H. If and only if A inverse GA belongs to H for all G in H. If and only if A inverse HA is a subset of H, which is equivalent to the fact that A belongs to the normalizer of H, that is NH. And this shows that S0 is the set of all left cosets AH such that A is in the normalizer of H, that is order S0 is equal to index of H in NH. Hence we get index of H in G is congruent to index of H in NH modulo P. As an immediate corollary of this result, we have the following consequence. Let P be a prime and H be a P subgroup of a finite group G. If P divides index of H in G, then H is not equal to the normalizer of H. Since G is a finite group and H is a P subgroup of G, so we have index of H in G is congruent to index of H in NH modulo P. Now, P divides index of H in G implies that P divides index of H in NH. Since for every subgroup H, index of H in NH can never be 0, it follows that index of H in NH is always greater than equal to P, and hence H can never be equal to NH. Now we are ready to prove the Sylloge first theorem. Let G be a finite group of order p to the power n m, where p is a prime, n is greater than 0, and GCD Pm is equal to 1. Then G has a subgroup of order p to the power I for every 1 less than equal to I less than equal to n. Moreover, for every subgroup of order p to the power I such that I is strictly smaller than n, there is a subgroup K of order p to the power I plus 1 and H is normal in K. Here the interesting condition that GCD Pm is equal to 1 actually emphasizes that p to the power m is the highest power of p such that p to the power n divides order of G. We prove that G has a subgroup H of order p to the power I for all 1 less than equal to I less than equal to n by the principle of mathematical induction on I. Since n is greater than 0, p divides order G, and it follows from the Cauchy's theorem that G has an element A of order p and hence a subgroup of order p. Now, as our induction hypothesis, assume that H is a subgroup of order p to the power I where 1 less than equal to I less than n. Since H is a subgroup of order p to the power I, so we have index of H in G is congruent to index of H in NH modulo P. Since order of H is equal to p to the power I, where I is strictly smaller than n and p to the power n is a factor of order G, so it follows that p divides index of H in G, and this implies that p divides index of H in NH, which is equal to order of the quotient group NH by H. Here you must note that H is a normal subgroup of NH, that is H is normal in NH, and hence the quotient group NH by H is defined. Also you should note that H may not be a normal subgroup of G, and so the quotient group G by H may not be defined. Anyway, it follows that from the Cauchy's theorem, the quotient group NH by H has a subgroup of order P. Let us denote it by K by H. We can do so by the correspondence theorem. Correspondence theorem tells us that if NH by H is a quotient group, then every subgroup of NH by H is of the form K by H, where K is a subgroup of NH that contains H. Thus, we get a subgroup K of G such that order K is equal to order K by H into order H equal to P to the power I plus 1. Hence, by the principle of mathematical induction, G has a subgroup of order P to the power I for every 1 less than equal to I less than equal to n. Finally, since K is a subset of NH and H is normal in NH, it follows that H is a normal subgroup of K. Now, as an immediate consequence of the Seiloge first theorem, we have following extension of Cauchy's theorem. Let G be a finite group and P be a prime. If P to the power n divides order G, then G has a subgroup H of order P to the power n. If we take n equal to 1, the particular case, then the result we get is nothing but the Cauchy's theorem. Since it holds for any arbitrary positive integer n, so it is thus justified to say this result an extension of Cauchy's theorem. And note that this result follows directly from the Seiloge first theorem. Thus, we see from the Seiloge first theorem that if G is a finite group and P is a prime, say P to the power 10 divides order G, then G has a subgroup of order P, has a subgroup of order P square, has another subgroup of order P cube, and so on. Also, G has a subgroup of order P to the power 10. Most interesting is that if H is a subgroup of order P, then it is contained in a subgroup, say H2 of order P square, and again H2 is contained in a subgroup H3 of order P cube, and so on. This fact motivates us to introduce the notion of maximal P subgroup. These maximal P subgroups are called Sylow P subgroups. Let P be a prime, then a subgroup P of G is called a Sylow P subgroup if it is a maximal P subgroup of G. That is, if H is a P subgroup of G and P subset of H subset of G implies P equal to H. If G is a finite group, then G can have only finitely many subgroups and hence a maximal P subgroup. If G is infinite, then also G has a maximal P subgroup, which we can prove by the Jones lemma. Thus, for every prime P and every group G, we have a silo P subgroup of G, though they may be trivial. In the following result, we characterize silo P subgroups in terms of their orders. Let G be a finite group of order p to the power n m, where n is greater than 0, p is a prime and GCD Pm equal to 1. Then a subgroup H is a silo P subgroup of G if and only if order H is equal to p to the power n. First, assume that H is a subgroup of G such that order H is equal to p to the power n. Let K be a P subgroup of G such that H is a subset of K. Since K is a P subgroup, so order K is equal to p to the power r for some integer r greater than equal to 0. Now, by the Lagrange's theorem, since K is a subgroup of G, so order K divides order G, that is p to the power r divides p to the power n into m and GCD of Pm equal to 1. These two together implies that r must be less than equal to n. Also, H is a subset of K implies that n must be less than equal to r. Thus, r equal to n and order H is equal to order K is equal to p to the power n. Hence, H equal to K and H is a maximal P subgroup. Conversely, suppose that H is a silo P subgroup. Then, since H is a P group, it follows that order H is equal to p to the power r for some r greater than equal to 0. Now, by the Lagrange's theorem, order H divides order G, that is p to the power r divides p to the power n m and GCD Pm equal to 1 implies that r is less than equal to n. We will show that r is nothing but equal to n. If possible, on the contrary, assume that r is strictly smaller than n. Then the Silo's first theorem implies that H is contained in a subgroup K of order r plus 1, which contradicts that H is a maximal P subgroup of G. Hence, r can never be strictly less than n, so r is equal to n and order H is equal to p to the power n. Now, we characterize a group G as a direct product of its silo subgroups. It is easy to see that there are groups such as S3 which is not direct product of its silo subgroups. The result states that let G be a finite group if every silo subgroup of G is normal, then G is a direct product of its Sylow subgroups. Let order G be equal to P1 to the power n1, P2 to the power n2 and so on Pk to the power nk, where P1, P2, Pk are distinct primes and n1, n2, nk all are positive integers. We know that every group G has a Sylow P subgroup. Let P1 be a Sylow P1 subgroup of G, P2 be a Sylow P2 subgroup of G and Pk be a Sylow Pk subgroup of G. Then from the given condition, it follows that all Pi are normal in G. Also we have order Pi is equal to Pi to the power Ni since Pi is a Sylow Pi subgroup. Now let Ai belongs to Pi and Aj belongs to Pj, where I not equal to j. Since both Pi and Pj are normal, so Ai, Aj, Ai inverse, Aj inverse belongs to Pi intersection Pj. Note that we can rearrange the term Ai, Aj, Ai inverse, Aj inverse as Ai, Aj, Ai inverse into Aj inverse. Since Pj is normal and Aj is in Pj, so Ai, Aj, Ai inverse is in Pj and hence Ai, Aj, Ai inverse into Aj inverse also belong to Pj. Similarly, normality of Pi implies that Aj, Ai inverse, Aj inverse belongs to Pi and hence Ai into Aj, Ai inverse, Aj inverse belongs to Pi. Thus, this element belongs to Pi intersection Pj. Since order Pi is equal to Pi to the power ni and Pi, Pj are two distinct primes, so GCD of order Pi and Pj is equal to 1, which implies by the Lagrange's theorem that order Pi intersection Pj is equal to 1 and so Pi intersection Pj is equal to E. Thus, Ai, Aj, Ai inverse, Aj inverse which is equal to Ai, Aj into Aj, Ai inverse, this is equal to nothing but E and thus it follows that Ai, Aj is equal to Aj, Ai. Actually, we want to show that G is an internal direct product of P1, P2, Pk. For this, consider an arbitrary integer r between 1 to k and an element A from Pr intersection P1, P2 Pr minus 1, Pr plus 1 up to Pk. Then A is of the form A1 into A2 into so on Ar minus 1, Ar plus 1 and so on up to Ak, where Ai belongs to Pi. Now, Ai belongs to Pi implies that order Ai divides order Pi, that is order Ai divides Pi to the power ni. Thus, A belongs to Pr implies that order A divides Pr to the power nr, and since any two AIAJ commutes, we have order of A1, A2 up to AR minus 1, AR plus 1 up to AK is a divisor of P1 to the power n minus n1, P2 to the power n2 and so on, PR minus 1 to the power nr minus 1, PR plus 1 to the power nr plus 1 and so on, Pk to the power nk. That is, order A divides P1 to the power n1 and so on up to Pk to the power nk. Since P1, P2, Pk, these primes are distinct, it follows that GCD of PR to the power nr and P1 to the power n1, PR minus 1 to the power nr minus 1, PR plus 1 to the power nr plus 1, so on Pk to the power nk is equal to 1. Thus, order A is equal to 1 and it follows that A is the identity element. Thus, PR intersection P1 PR minus 1, PR plus 1 up to Pk contains only the identity element E, which again implies that the order of the product P1, P2, Pk is equal to order P1 into order P2 up to order Pk, which is equal to P1 to the power n1, P2 to the power n2 and so on Pk to the power nk equal to order G. Thus, G becomes equal to P1, P2 up to Pk, that is the G is equal to the product of the normal subgroups P1, P2, Pk. Since for any R PR intersection, the product of the rest subgroups contains only the identity element, this product G equal to P1 into P2 into Pk is actually internal direct product of the silo subgroups P1, P2 up to Pk. And we know that if G is an internal direct product of the subgroups P1, P2, Pk, then G is isomorphic to the external direct product of P1, P2 up to Pk. Thus, we see that G becomes a direct product of its silo subgroups P1, P2 up to Pk. Corresponding to a particular prime divisor P of order G, a group G may have more than one silo P subgroups. So, it remains unopened the question whether G is a product of several silo P subgroups corresponding to a particular prime divisor P. In our next module, we show that if a silo P subgroup of G is normal, then there is unique silo P subgroup.